Hello and welcome to TradeFlow Television,
bringing you valuable analysis and actionable intelligence
through the global commodity markets.
These are some of the key topics that we will be looking into in today's program.
First, let's take a look at the overnight headlines which are impacting the commodity markets.
Freezing temperatures across Asia and Europe are driving liquefied natural gas prices to record highs and pushing up European gas prices as buyers grapple with shrinking inventories and a shortage of tankers. But with milder weather forecast, prices may peak soon as demand for heating fuel diminishes, traders and analysts said. S&P Global Platts Japan-Korea marker, a reference point for Asian spot LNG prices, rose to $28.221 per million British thermal units on Monday for a cargo to be delivered in February. At least one Japanese utility paid over $30 per MMBTU for a cargo for late January delivery, traders said.
Oil hit an 11-month high just below $57 a barrel on Tuesday as tighter supply and expectations for a drop in U.S. inventories offset concerns over rising coronavirus cases globally. Saudi Arabia plans to cut output by an extra 1 million barrel per day in February and March to keep inventories in check. The latest U.S. supply reports are expected to show crude stocks fell for a fifth straight week. A.S. Brent crude was up 59 cents, or 1.1%, at $56.25 a barrel by 1440 GMT after touching its highest since last February at $56.75. U.S. West Texas Intermediate gained 47 cents, or 0.9%, to $52.72.
Moving on to the top news in the energy sector.
The Trump administration is expected to grant waivers to some oil refiners that would exempt him from requirements to blend biofuels into their fuel mix for the 2019 compliance year, according to two sources familiar with the matter. The move would be one of the last actions by President Donald Trump's Environmental Protection Agency to seek to balance the competing desires of the biofuel and oil industries over biofuel blending laws. The decision, however, would be a blow to the biofuel industry and corn producers that say the exemptions hurt demand for their products, though the oil industry rejects that claim. The announcement could come as early as this week, one of the sources said, and would apply to some exemptions for the 2019 compliance year.
China's effective ban on imports of Australian coal is forcing a realignment of flows between the world's two biggest importers and two largest exporters. Indonesia and Australia dominate the global seaborne coal trade, with the Southeast Asian nation tops in thermal coal, used mainly in power plants, while Australia is the biggest shipper of coking coal, used to make steel, and the number 2 in thermal coal. China is the world's biggest coal importer, while India ranks second. China's major coal supplier was Australia, but this ended in the second half of last year after Beijing's unofficial ban on imports from Australia, believed to be in retaliation for Canberra call for an international probe of the origins of the coronavirus pandemic.
Moving on to metal price moves.
Gold investors critical of lavish executive payouts plan to vote down compensation at upcoming annual shareholder meetings, as soaring prices for the precious metal spur dealmaking. It is the latest knock against an industry that had only recently won back investor favor after being shunned due to disappointing returns. Miners who overspent on acquisitions in the 2011 gold boom have curbed premiums that led to billions in impairments when prices later crashed. But investors say change of control provisions allowing for multi-million-dollar executive windfalls remain commonplace.
Nickel prices jumped on Tuesday after major producer the Philippines ordered a halt on mining on an island that is home to some projects. Philippine President Rodrigo Duterte banned mining on Tumbagan Island in Languyan, in Tawi-Tawi province, over concerns about the environmental impact. Although the order did not cover the country's nickel mining hub in Caraga region, the potential supply disruption boosted prices. Benchmark nickel on the London Metal Exchange was up 3.1% at $17,615 a ton by 1540 GMT, making it the biggest gainer among base metals.
We will now look at the top news in the agricultural sector.
Chicago soybeans, wheat and corn rose on Tuesday as investors awaited forecasts from the U.S. Department of Agriculture of global grain and oilseed production later in the day. Wheat was underpinned by reports that Russia will increase its planned tax on wheat exports. Attention is on the USDA report. The market is expecting it to be bullish as it is likely to trim global corn and soybean inventories, said one Singapore-based trader. But it can turn out to be the other way, less bullish than expected.
Finally, we have the most recent news on the financial market. When the biggest U.S. banks begin reporting fourth-quarter results on Friday, some of the headlines could show profits plunge by as much as 40% from a year earlier, before the pandemic struck. But investors will be focused on digging out clues to the earnings rebound expected in 2021. You can look at Q4 as somewhat of a transition quarter as you put some of the challenges from 2020 in the rear-view mirror and look ahead to an improved 2021, said Barclays analyst Jason Goldberg.
That is all for today's news on the commodity market. Stay tuned to TradeFlow TV as we continue to provide you with more updates. You can also follow us on Twitter at TradeFlow TV1, which allows you to watch our program on your mobile device or desktop.